Hello, my name is Cassie Hoskins. The topic I have chosen to research for my signature assignment is genetically modified organisms. Genetically modified organisms, or GMOs, are a plant, animal, or microorganism whose DNA has been adapted by the use of genetic engineering techniques. GMOs are most often seen in the produce section of stores. The first genetically modified plants that were produced for human consumption were introduced in the mid-1990s in America. According to the National Geographic, about 90% of today's corn, soybeans, and sugar beets on the market have been genetically modified. An ethical type that applies to this issue is utilitarianism. Utilitarianism is the ethical theory that a decision or action is morally correct if it benefits the majority of people involved or affected by said decision. Utilitarianism applies to the topic of GMOs because GMOs are believed to benefit the people who grow the food as well as the consumers. However, many people also believe that GMOs are unhealthy and should not be consumed. There are many pros to growing, consuming, and producing GMOs. One of the pros of GMOs are that GMOs often have more desirable traits. An example of this is that scientists have created two different types of GMO apples that turn less brown after being cut or bruised compared to conventionally or organically grown apples. GMO crops are also made to be more nutritious, flavorful, and resistant to herbicides. GMO crops are often more resistant to common plant diseases that infect conventional and organic grown crops. GMO crops are often easier to take care of than conventionally and organically grown crops because they require less pest treatment compared to normally grown crops. Farmers who grow GMO crops also experience higher yields from their crops because they do not lose as many plants to insects or diseases. They also save money because they do not have to purchase as much pesticides and weed killers as a conventional farmer normally does. All of these factors also mean that the selling price for a customer will be lower, the food will be most likely a higher quality, and the food will also have a longer shelf life. Even though there are many pros in the GMO debate, there are also many cons. Some of the cons of GMOs are cross-pollination, pest resistance, human health, and the environment. Cross-pollination is a major concern because it's possible that when a GMO crop is pollinated and the pollinator then pollinates an organic or conventionally grown crop, then the non-GMO crop could be considered contaminated and no longer GMO-free. Also, GMO crops have been criticized for promoting the development of pesticide-resistant pests. Even though GMO crops are resistant to many pests, certain pests have become resistant to certain pest and weed killers. If these pests were to infect a non-GMO crop, then the non-GMO crop would likely lose much of its plants. Human health is also a major concern when it comes to GMOs. Even though there is no hard proof that GMOs cause sicknesses by themselves, there are still concerned about human health and GMOs. One reason for this is that genetic modification often adds proteins that are not a part of the native plant's genetic makeup, which can cause allergic reactions in the human body. Some people are also worried that GMO crops could hurt the land that they are grown on, such as infecting the dirt or making it difficult for other crops to be grown there at a later time. Many people are also worried that if GMO crops will continue to spray pesticide, then it will hurt the air and other crops as well. I personally believe that genetically modifying organisms is a very innovative idea that has a lot of potential. I like the idea that a plant can be genetically altered so it has more desirable traits. Something that I have noticed every time I buy produce from the grocery store is how fast it seems to turn brown and no longer edible. Fresh produce is not the cheapest thing to buy, so when I do purchase it, it is always a shame to see it turn bad. If scientists are able to create a food that is healthy and has a longer shelf life, I believe this will be a huge pro in the GMO debate. I noticed in my research that GMO farmers don't lose as many plants due to insects. Because of this, the farmer can earn more money. Farmers also don't have to purchase as many pest and weed killers as conventional farmers do. This also saves them and their money farm. GMO crops take less time and effort to grow than organic food, which is also a great thing for a farmer. GMO food is also cheaper to purchase than organic food, which is appealing to many people who want to purchase produce but can't afford the price of organic food. GMOs also have been showing positive impacts outside the United States. The United States has been working with other countries to use genetic engineering to improve basic foods that make up a large portion of a person's diet, such as growing GMO eggplants in Bangladesh that are resistant to insects. Farmers there are now earning more and are less exposed to pesticides. All of these pros make a strong argument in the GMO debate. However, there are also many cons in the GMO debate that cause me concern. Two of the cons that I discussed in the GMO debate that cause me concern are cross-pollination and the development of pesticide resistance. Many people would be negatively affected if a cross-pollination on a major scale did occur, such as a large swarm of bees pollinating a GMO field and then traveling to a non-GMO crop. After discussing organically grown foods this semester, I noticed that if a cross-pollination did occur, then the organic crop could become contaminated. Then it doesn't seem likely that the organic farmer could still sell their food as GMO-free. Of course, this would hurt the organic farmer's business and threaten the market for organic farmers. Also, the development of resistant pests is also most due to the overuse of limited range of pesticides and the over-reliance on one pesticide. The development of pest resistance via cross-pollination to wild types of plants, such as weeds, is a major issue. If this situation is to continue to grow, then GMO crops would grow faster and reproduce more often, which might cause them to become invasive and cause a lack of variety of crops. The concern for human health is an interesting argument against GMOs. Some people are concerned that GMOs can cause an allergic reaction to consumers. Some of the allergic reactions that occur might be new to the person, and they might become seriously ill after coming in contact with the GMO food. Although it is somewhat possible that a person could have an allergic reaction after consuming a GMO food because it was genetically modified with a different plant, but this is not very likely. Although many of the concerns about GMOs are valid, I believe that problems such as cross-pollination and development of pesticide resistance can be addressed. Although there are limited ways to stop these problems, I believe that it can be done, either by locating GMO crops further away from conventional and organic crops and finding new ways to treat crops without the use of pesticides. Of course, this would not be an easy process. It would require time, labor, and money, but I believe it would convince more people to support GMOs. Personally, I believe that GMOs are worth exploring, but until there are more pros than cons in the GMO debate, I will most likely continue to buy conventionally grown foods. Thank you.